Hi everybody, PlanetWalls here. We are back for round 4 of the Classic League. No, this is round 5 maybe? My last round, my opponent conceded to me, Bald Eagle 247. This is Ilskin's deck. We played against him before. It's an Oath version called GG Oath, the one that has Dragon Breath in it. So the threats are Emrakul, Blightsteel, Grizzlebrand. He's got 4 Force of Wills and 3 Mental Missteps. He's also got a Nature's Claim, which is worth noting, a couple Spell Pierce, which are effective in Thought Seizes. He also has a Time Vault, Win Con, and an Abrupt Decay. Vampiric Tutor and Demonic Tutor can find a threat, and he's got 2 Show and Tell as well. So all in all, this is actually a pretty threatening deck to play against. I think our deck this tournament wasn't extraordinary. And so I expect to lose in this round, and I don't think I'll be playing anymore if I lose this round. He's also got 2 Wastelands and a Strip Mine, worth noting, an Ancient Tomb, 3 Libraries. His mana base is a little weak in terms of colored mana. Something worth noting, and we could win that way. So anyway, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, we are back, and he is on the play. We've wished him good luck. So our strategy in this one is probably going to be to land a Grafdigger's Cage off of a Trinket Mage and then protect it from Abrupt Decay. He might also bring in Hurkyl's Recalls from his sideboard later, because he's got those. Maybe Energy Flux too. Any way for him to deal with Grafdigger's Cage is key. He could also Thought Seize it. He can still win the game with a Vault Key combo, though, notably, or Show and Tell. So he's still figuring out whether to mulligan. And we do have Trinket Mages that aren't going to be countered. We've got a Pride Mage that can kill his Oath. If his Oath comes down too quickly, though, we would just lose through it, probably. With that said, I think this is a pretty good hand, all things considered. So we are not going to mulligan. Even though we don't have counter spells. So we have a bunch of uncounterable stuff. It's just that we may not be able to get through his Oath. My wife shakes her head in recognition. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's what's going on, she says. Mm-hmm. Having 3 Trinket Mages is kind of funny. Makes our hand kind of slow. But we do have a lot of options after a Trinket Mage comes down. Which I'm pretty excited about. I'm sitting on the floor here. I might lie down on my front like a teenage girl on her bed to look at a YM magazine. Back to teenage girls look at YM.
I don't know, but I think your deck looks good. She says as she looks at a Pottery Barn catalog.
Yeah, she's looking at Pottery Barn. My deck doesn't look good. By the way, Pottery Barn did not pay me anything to say that. What am I kidding? They paid me a little bit. Nice, Mental Misstep. That's awesome. So if he Vampiric Tutors, I am totally okay with that. So we just named Wizard, and I didn't actually look at what it was because the window that popped up, so I am feeling pretty glad that that worked out okay. Let's drop this little gentleman, this little cat wizard. I can't believe... Okay, now he's going to start librarying me. I got a Pithing Needle that thing. Yeah, draw your card. Him having an active library makes the game, like, infinitely more difficult. He could also tinker into Blightsteel. Oh, man, double library. Okay, so now Pithing Needle becomes, like, a serious priority here. Because him being able to draw so many cards off of lands is insane. At least he has to discard. It'll probably be an Emrakul, though. Nope, a land. Okay, and he discards a green land, so I take it he doesn't need that for some reason. Well, that'll help with Blightsteel or Vault Key. Let's just get in there first. So the question is, do I need to get this down now? Because if he puts a Blightsteel into play... Actually, if he Show and Tells, I'll just put this into play and then I'll win the game on my turn. That would be pretty good. I don't want to find another land, so I think I'm going to crack this for probably a green-blue. And I think play the Trinket Mage. All right. Land this little gentleman. I always like this guy. Looks like a nice little scientist. Let's see. We could also find something like Soul Ring. That seems bad, though. Pithing Needle seems like the way to go here. Though Skull Clamp also nets us a lot of card advantage if we can land that. Nonetheless, I think Pithing Needle's the way to go. And naming those libraries is going to be key to prevent them from just drawing so many cards they can get out of this. What is this? Postpone. Don't want to restart the computer in the middle of this. There's a strip. He's going to name Cavern, and that's going to be okay with us. Though it would be nice to have another land. Really, I hope he just tries to show and tell right now and puts a Blightsteel into play. Yep. So now drawing another land would be nice. Looks like he's going to discard again. That's okay. Eventually something has to go. If he's not discarding stuff like Emrakul or Grizzlebrand, it's probably because it means he doesn't have a show and tell. I'm sorry, it means he does. He is looking for a show and tell. Vendilion Click is excellent. And I think that might actually be better than trying to draw Pithing Needle this turn. I don't know, maybe that's not true. It definitely speeds up the clock. We could also play a Trinket Mage, find a Lotus Petal, and then play a Pithing Needle. That might be what I actually try to do here. Or alternatively, Mana Crypt. Yeah, let's do that. Maybe this gets countered here. That would actually be kind of interesting. So Pithing Needle it is. Spell Pierce, and let's go ahead and misstep that. He did not draw a card with Library there, which is good to know. This could easily get misstepped. But at this point, he's down to 6 cards. If he missteps this, he has trouble. Okay. So that's good, because now he's down to 4 cards. So it's like we Pithing Needled the Library, even though we didn't. So that's cool. Maybe he thought it was going to name Vault or Key. I guess he could just Vault Key us out this turn. He could have both in his hand and we could lose. That's the sort of thing that can happen, and then you can say, oh, I made a mistake by trying to do this, but... Well, I guess he's not going to Vault Key this turn.
You totally just announced it, so you couldn't say that at all?
No. I think I made the right play. I'm just saying I made a play that would have allowed me to lose had he taken another route. But I'm not sure I did it wrong.
He says with a question mark?
Yes, it was with a definite question mark. Wow, this turn it seems like I have to play a Vendilion Click. Given my mana situation, there's no way for me to play a Click and a Magus unless I do it main phase. So the question is like, do I want to play both now? I get to see one fewer card. I don't get to see the card he draws off the top, which gives me less security. But I get to play 2 guys. I think, because if I play Vendilion Click, I'm not going to lose. Well, he could have tutors and stuff and Vault Key me out. Yeah, I don't think the Magus is important right now. I don't think it does anything, really. I could play a Trinket Mage. And then find a Lotus Petal. and then play the Vendilion Click, but I might want to save this Trinket Mage for something else. So I'm going to go ahead and wait for him to draw a card, and then play the uncounterable Vendilion Click. And let's do that now. Is there a reason to leave Mana Crypt open? Probably it's better than my wife says. Okay, so now we have to start thinking. He just drew a card. Thoughtseize does nothing. Jace bounces a creature and allows him to live another turn. And then the Jace dies. I'm trying to figure out if I even want to remove anything. Because he has to bounce something or he dies. He can play an Oath, then he dies. He plays Key, then he dies. If he plays Thoughtseize, he dies. So he concedes, because I guess we were thinking. I wasn't going to take anything there. I think he had one more turn to get out of that. Okay, so now we look at what we've got and we see what we want to board. Let's look at his sideboard situation real quick. That is not the right place to look. He probably brings in more Abrupt Decays, maybe Nature's Claims, maybe Recalls. Like, a lot of his cards are good contingently in certain circumstances. We want to bring in another Grafdigger's Cage, maybe another Pithing Needle. We definitely bring in another Pride Mage, and probably a Detention Sphere. We also bring in an Annul and a Gilded Drake. So these Mind Sensors are also pretty good. So let's start figuring out what we want to take out here. Explosives can kill his Oaths. Zorius Guildmage is good. Essentially, we have too many good things. I think we take out Skull Clamp. I don't think I look for it in this matchup. Misstep is good. A lot of these cards are good against him, too. The Magus of the Unseen is not as strong because it only deals with his artifact situation, and he can also Abrupt Decay it. I do also believe he boards out Blightsteel because of them, so I think I cut those. He could keep the Blightsteel in, I would be surprised, but that could happen. The Mind Sensors aren't that strong, so I might want to cut one of them. Venser is pretty good because of the Show and Tell. What else do we keep? Essentially, Gilded Drake can allow us to win right after he Blightsteals, or right after he Shows and Tells. Maybe cutting one Engineered Explosives is the way to go, since Pithing Needle does mostly what I need to do with it, and we bring in the Annul for the Oath. I think the Detention Spheres are excellent, and I'm starting to think the other Aven Mind Sensor isn't that great comparatively, and then we need to cut one more card. Figuring out what that is tough for me. It might just be that I never want to find Divining Top, and so I cut that, because the cages are just more important. So yeah, let's do that. Not entirely sure about that sideboard decision there. Okay, well, he is coming back. I'm going to pause the recording. And he has come back, and we have a fairly decent hand, again with no counter magic. 3 lands, one of them's a Caracas, which is excellent. And then we've got a Cage. So, like, given what I see here, a Show and Tell on a Blightsteel actually could be the thing that kills us. But again, I think he boards out his Blightsteel because of the Magi the Unseen. So we're going to keep this hand. I can lead off with a Cage or a Needle. If he leads off with an Oath and an Orchard, I have to lead off with a Cage. But he didn't, so I can lead off with a Needle here instead, which I think is a little less excellent. And he would have done Library had he had the opportunity there. So the question is, like, do I actually play something now? If I play this Underground River, or Underground Sea, it's actually not very good because I can't play a Pride Mage the next turn. So I think I could do the Tarn and find the green-blue land, the Tropical Island, and then play Pithing Needle. He could also play Spell Pierce this turn. So I think probably I play the Pithing Needle and then it just gets countered. This is the one Underground Sea in the deck. It's for the Ixalan Jailers in the board. Maybe I name Library with this. I actually don't know exactly what to name with a Pithing Needle. He could just let it resolve. Notably, we don't have Cavern of Souls in our hand this game. But he didn't appear to have very much counter magic last game anyway. So, like, what would I name with this? Maybe Time Vault, maybe Jace. Could name Grizzlebrand, could name Library. I could actually name Fetchlands. Like, one thing that would be fun to name is, like, Misty Rainforest. But I think he would have let off with that, unless he's planning on, brainstorming. So he would have to have a brainstorm for Misty Rainforest to be the right pick. It would be fun to name Misty Rainforest, though, and Mana Screw here. So it looks like he's really thinking about whether or not he wants to counter this. My guess is he's worried about Cage. Okay, so I'm going to pause and come back when he makes a decision. Okay, so he made his decision to let it resolve, and I think I'm going to name Library. It just has the potential to beat me late game. Even if I would really like to name Misty Rainforest, but that's okay. I can always play the Revoker and name something with it. Like a Time Vault. And I can even kill one of those things with Pride Mage. So I don't know. Maybe naming Library is wrong. Maybe naming Misty Rainforest would have been right. Because here he's brainstorming. Which leads me to believe he's going to play a fetch land. If he doesn't play a fetch land here, it means his hand's really bad. And if he oaths, we have a chance with Caracas too. So, like, hopefully he's boarded out Blightsteel and the Caracas just creates a situation where he can't win. Okay, so there comes an oath. And he's tapped out now too. Okay, and we draw another land, which I think is fine. We have to do something about this turn. And so what I'm going to do is play the Cage. He can't Spell Pierce right now. And then play the Caracas. Okay, and this gets forced and he removes his Tinker, which is a good kill condition. So this is where we hope that he actually has boarded out Blightsteel. Because Blightsteel is the only threat that can deal with the Caracas. Maybe he had to keep it in there, because he kept the Tinker in there. And it's a Grizzlebrand, so he can definitely draw a lot of cards. And the Dragon Breath did make it into his graveyard. So let's see. He's down to 4 cards in his library. Maybe he just kept the Grizzlebrand in there? That means he can't draw. So he won't be drawing any cards this turn. And he's notably going to Wasteland our Caracas here. Is there any reason not to bounce this right now? I guess we wait till his attack step, I guess. He's got 3 cards in hand and 4 in deck. I feel like we jaced him. Ultimate. It'd also be a good idea to look through here. Thoughtseize, Vampiric Tutor, Abrupt Decay, Abrupt Decay. He didn't board in recalls. There's another Abrupt Decay. 4 Abrupt Decays, so we don't have to worry about those. There's a Nature's Claim. Show and Tell. Show and Tell. So both the Show and Tells are here. How many Force of Wills? 1, 2, 3. So there's one more Force of Will in the next few cards. Let's go ahead and return this. Don't want him to ninjutsu anything. Obviously, that's ridiculous. What about Time Vault? Time Vault is in his graveyard, so is the key. We could probably figure out what's in his hand. So, for instance, how many Oaths are here? 1? Does that mean that... Okay, so there's an Oath in play, an Oath there. Does that mean 2 of the cards are Oaths? That would be pretty funny. He thought seizes. Okay, that's relevant for him, certainly. Is he targeting himself? Yes, he's targeting himself. So he's probably going to put an Emrakul in the graveyard so he doesn't get decked. And he has an Oath, Force, Grizzle. So this creates a situation where his Oath is going to activate next turn, and he's going to kill a land and probably take out the Revoker. This is interesting. So there are some cards we can draw, but right now it looks like we're going to be losing this game. Because he's going to hit an Emrakul and probably Dragon Breath. I guess we have to hope he doesn't hit those 2 cards, and we have to play around that. Because there's a Grizzlebrand in his hand, so we just have to hope the Emrakul's on top of the Dragon Breath, I think. And there's a Force in his hand, and an Oath, and a Grizzlebrand. So that creates an extremely bad situation for us, doesn't it? So we assume that an Emrakul is going to hit play. What do we do about that? So we have to play to draw Detention Sphere, I think. I think that's what we have to do. I think that's the only out, really, at this point. So let's go ahead and play the Revoker. And what do we name here? The Grizzlebrand seems really boring to name. Maybe that's the right thing to do, though. Pretty soon he's going to be at low enough life where that doesn't matter. Maybe Lotus Petal? No, I feel like that doesn't do anything right now either. How about Time Voltaic Key? Or Time Vault, rather. Okay, I'm having trouble with my mouse. Okay, so now essentially what happens is we have to hope Emrakul comes out before Dragon Breath, and then we have to draw a Detention Sphere. Maybe I should have popped the Flooded Strand to make it slightly more likely to draw the Detention Sphere. And it looks like the Dragon Breath came out, so I think we lose. Yeah, definitely. Because we're down to 0 cards in hand. I don't think we have any way out of that. No, we do. We have, we're going to keep a land, because we have Gilded Drake. And so we sacrifice everything but that, and we hope to draw a Gilded Drake. That would be pretty fun. Or I guess we hope to Oath into a Gilded Drake. So it's like we have 2 shots to get a Gilded Drake. Or only 1. What do we draw? We drew a Caselli Pride Mage. That's no Gilded Drake. Okay. So we lose game 2. And that was fair. And that was kind of a fun and interesting game. So let's move on, because he had so few cards in his deck. That was kind of cool. What beat us that game? Did any of this stuff, would any of this helped? Maybe the Steel Sabotage? I don't think that that's excellent. I don't think it would have done anything that game. Another Explosives could have, not really. I'm feeling pretty happy with the way that my deck looks right now. Yeah, let's roll with this. Hope that didn't matter. Yes, I'd like to play first. And I'm not going to mulligan this. And I actually think I'm just going to lead off with a Cage. And then we have another Trinket Mage to Cage or to pitch to a Force. Only a Mental Misstep or a Force of Will be able to counter this. So he does have like 5 cards in his deck that could counter a first turn Cage. And then he can kill it later, of course. It's a little harder for him to Abrupt Decay, just because the mana. Cage by itself doesn't win the game. And we need to support it. But it certainly doesn't hurt, and it presents an obstacle to his normal win con. It also prevents Tinker from working to find a Blight Seal. But again, I think he's kept those boarded out. He could have boarded it back in, since he didn't see Magus. But, not sure. Okay, so both of his children are using saws, which is kind of exciting. We're going to go ahead and drop the Cage and see what happens. Okay, so it gets misstepped. The question is, do I counter that? And what do I use? Do I pitch Vendilion Click or Trinket Mage? Or maybe I don't counter it. He could counter the Force of Will. That would be pretty devastating. It's like both these are good cards. I'm actually going to counter the... he could have another misstep, though. That would be pretty unlikely. I'm exiling the... Trinket Mage, I think. He misstepped it quickly enough that it presents a problem to him, so I think that he's still going for the Oath plan. Okay, and it landed. So now we're down to a few bad cards in our hand. If he plays a Library, that's actually one of the worst things that can happen. Then I guess I wish I cut my Trinket Mage. But he didn't. This could be setting up for Abrupt Decay, though. And we want to draw no more lands. And we drew a land. So that's not good. Because it would have been nice to follow that up with anything. Going first and forcing kind of sucks. And now we can't Vendilion Click whatever he's looking for. But I know what he's looking for, and it's an Abrupt Decay. So maybe we could have found another Cage with Trinket Mage? Hard to tell. Either way, it means that I get to look at his hand and remove 1 card from it with Vendilion Click. And he loses a card from Vampiric Tutoring. And he's also going to play another land this turn. So he's going to crack that fetch. He's going to find green. He's going to Abrupt Decay Grafdigger's Cage. And that puts him at 4. And then I get to Vendilion Click him on his turn. We find a Trop Island here. Ooh. That presents an interesting option. But it seems like he would have played the Oath ahead of time. So if I play this, he has to respond by... No, I want to Vendilion click him first. That's got to be the right play. Because then I can see his hand. And so I wait till his end of turn. And then he's going to Abrupt Decay, which I can't counter. He would have played the Abrupt Decay in response to the Meddling Mage. Now, the only thing I have to worry about here is that he has a Brainstorm, which might mean that it's better to Vendilion click right now and see what his hand is. But I don't think so. All right. So let's try to prevent him from winning right here. Do we have a Brainstorm? Brainstorm would be scary. No Brainstorm, but we have an Oath and an Abrupt Decay. And so the thing I can't afford to keep in his hand is the Oath, clearly. He could draw another one very soon. And now what happens is that... Did I actually look at what cards are in his hand? Grizzle and Abrupt. And then a land and an unknown. So essentially I attack here. He can Abrupt Decay this, but he might not. And if I play the Meddling Mage and it resolves, I name Abrupt Decay. Seems to me. And if he Abrupt Decays in response, then I name something else. And I keep the fetch land. I probably put it in play. Because I might want to... He might kill a land and I might need to play something off the top later, maybe. But I don't think I crack it yet. Now it's interesting to me that... I guess he can't do anything about this. But I would have Abrupt Decayed in response. So I guess this means that maybe he's got an Oath in his hand. Like, maybe I should have taken the sign of it's resolving. That he must have another Oath. That we are going to counter a million times. And I am not paying one here. Because I might need to counter a Spell Pierce. Alright. And at this point... Oh, wait, I don't have Brainstorm, so this is terrible. We're getting in there with these things, so I should crack that fetch soon. Probably. Though I could take an Emrakul hit at this point. And if I crack it, I can't take an Emrakul hit. What would I name with a Pithing Needle here? Not Library, because that doesn't matter anymore. Jace I could name. He's got a Grizzlebrand in his hand. But he's at 7 now, so it sucks. Could name Time Vault. Basically, either Time Vault or Jace. And I think... Jace is probably not very good at this point because I have this Vendilion click that he could bounce. Which is also why I'm using the Trop Island here instead of the Cavern. So I don't think Jace is very good right now, in other words. Even though playing the Jace allows him to play an Abrupt Decay. I think. So maybe naming Jace is better than naming Time Vault. Let's name Jace. This does create a situation where he could, in theory, win with a Time Vault and Voltaic Key combo. Do we crack this? No, because I want to stay at 15 if he hits with an Emrakul. And that's really good for us. It can't deal with a hasty Emrakul, but it can be put into play with a Show and Tell. And now a hasty Emrakul doesn't kill me if it attacks. Not sure how he would put that into play, though. So he could concede right here. All right. Well, that's round 4 or round 5, and I'll see you for round 6. Thanks.